So
good morning, everyone. It says in Sutra, the three worlds are as impermanent as autumn clouds. The birth and death of beings resemble scenes in a play. The transit life of beings are like lightning in the sky, rushing by quickly like a fast-flowing mountain stream.
Siba comes some with this yara, Dongam Sungam Sumi comes in and oh, Sawa Sade Salasunenda. Oh, Tezu, don't get in, I should say, Luburtu Kanechum, Chamachik living with her. I had any Kavando Hamoganamsa and Duarco. Tanda and Eurasian don't get Midakwas Yorata. Don't get in the door, yes, or Sisuma that don't get down and Duechi Kalata and Sonsera. No, Duechi Kalata Sunibati. Joanam Genici, Tiawata, Chiva said, Dogatam Ganeshi, Tanda Miri, Tenelari, Yanyawari, Yidare, Tendore, Dogat the Madame Rastamanashi Sheshe, Kotanda and the Kyo and Yudu Yora, Duechi, Dogatam Ganeshi, Tanda and Yudu Yora, Sera, Duechi Kalata. Duet sent to Namgelo, that's Duet said, Namgelo Nashi. And use them serious, Yora. Yani, reserve publication in Europe. Said in a reserve when my pump to a chunashi. Kichi and Madivichako, all near do your race on Yora. Or did you
So the three worlds are as impermanent as autumn clouds. The three worlds can be understood as either the desire realm, the form realm, or the formless realm. That's one way, or below the earth, upon the earth, and above the earth. So these are impermanent as autumn clouds. They seem to arise adventitiously, suddenly or something like that, maybe. That happen abruptly and then just disappear. And then the birth and death of beings resembles scenes in a play. Here the birth and death is talking about how we take many different lives. Sometimes we're human, sometimes we're deities, sometimes we're in the animals, sometimes we're in the hell realm, a hungry ghost realm, sometimes we're demigods. And so it resembles a actor just playing many different scenes and changing roles. Then the transient lives of beings are like lightning in the sky. It means very brief. So rushing by quickly like a fast-flowing mountain stream. Just a mountain stream, the water never stays for an instant, so we're always constantly going towards the end of our life.
No, yeah. I didn't do around the city. And the law nation. Go use some cherry, and it Tanda song to you. Never the chore, never sure in the co Joshima Pendle, Pembe Chushing about the Chago. They are, and it's you, Rajibu. Yes, on the Koyatung Eletaro Maimba, Simja Tamja, Koyatung Eletaro Chegu. They should do Sanji Koman Tobercha. They should do any Kunzudan Tanda Becha, some treasure, she gave attention to Nye, Shimbache, and Yamsulangi. 대체 그 주년이 삼제 그노 세담네 삼버쇼 세진들.
So our lives our human lives are brief, just like lightning. So then, in this brief time that we have to make use of it to do whatever we can to set up the circumstances or the causes for to do something from the next life on. So then we have to set up the circumstances for set up the causes for a fortunate rebirth, liberation, and the attainment of completely perfect Buddhahood. So then you should set your motivation with that in mind, thinking I will study and reflect and practice both the conventional bodhicitta. I will listen to these teachings in order to study, practice, and reflect, and practice on the conventional bodhicitta and the ultimate bodhicitta. Beidun de shegi or what the gogi de gay the tama de because drabati ka madrakne de gogi de gay de driso
oh de reakas
de driso
yune keve yona shedra oh de sumba yido onwe Don't less of a cabasido.
Oh, there.
You don't let you don't less of a you don't have nearly long to sob to do it. Less I would have asked you a dash and jack cigar. You don't want me, but the one Minjula, then a sonum debu yimbe, the way to do you don't want sebe sonum charity grace. Oh, dear, unique yona, you didn't remember to a yensudo. Never to a insuda. Sudala sobe uni, chinso give yiduma, tobanuna, you debe yuti and tarban deba namje, never zishin, never shower residua. Never the maybe ne residua. Oh, dear Sude. The Venjuneki yuti to the Shinjachan, Titobe to the less I disigura. Oh, deco dene, never cigarettes, maybe ne residua. Oh, dear Caras not to remember. Jumbe Sawari, Medabada, Tungeswagi, Tatu number Yamare Sigura. The Pedelia, taking the Nyamba, maybe near Residuco, middle Gogotan, Zikelodin Gogotan, Lavrova, Kamadras Lavrova. Echemaco made the man done Kataya Yuba Hakoche, oh, middle in the love studio, midi. Nyambada could do shine but Sigdoa. Oh, they turned to that year. Nyambar Zishi, maybe there, or me to that in the only thing to Salam the Sabiro. Oh,
so I was saying maybe we left off about that one example, and the example was in this one section where we're repudiating the accumulation of karma for the sake of attractive objects. So the assertion was that pleasure does not occur without attractive sense objects. Since these are the result of merit, it is permissible to perform meritorious actions out of attachment to attractive objects in order to have pleasure. this idea, this is countered by that those who desire liberation disparage and consider even such sense objects bad. So then the example was of this one monk being deceived by a trickster, and so then the monk was thinking, oh, that it's this trickster. He did according to what the monk said. I mean, the trickster said, and then in the beginning he was not saying anything, and then at the end he was saying something. So then he said, oh, this. So he came to the conclusion that this man, and it was in order, and it was for the sake of getting alms, and so then he decided at the end, oh, this person is completely bad. The trickster was bad. He understood. So that's an illustration of that.
Shiba Wanju get under less soba kaba said there. Wang Chambu Yungi, Gabula soba Tindepa, Tundakanga to Susa Katan and Jingi, or Tindeche to Tobia Tundalia, Delasene, less sabade, Digivas and Tindigama Sigora. Shiba Wanju get under less soba Kabanese. You may but Chava Yin answer. Tawajume, you pusum soba Tobia Chedo, and they say back on the less on it, may be Nahina Sigora. You may but Chava Hinayas, Sutati Rizala Sobe, Tawaji and Doyangi you to Sigora. O the may but Chava Hinaya, tell us Sebecone, and less about it, maybe Nahina Sigora. Geshe Tawa, Tutu Juin Bessie, Javuta be Geshe, and it Tawa Pusum Soba Juribasura. Some Nelu Longi Pusum Soba Yore, Mikangal Katans and any, Tundakanga Duptuyora. Juin Betet and the son of the Oceana, then Charik Maris, the word the Tishegdwa.
So we go into the next section, and this is at the bottom of page 179, and so then at that point, well, the assertion is those sense objects should be disparaged, like it said before. Then the person understands that. One ought to create merit for the sake of kingship, a source of superlative pleasure. So if you made effort to create merit for becoming a king, then a king has all these, whatever he wants, and he also has the power to, and he also has a lot of power to make anything happen, and so that would be a good thing, right? Well.
Oh yeah. The Kangla Kalun Kume Basigua, Chanju Semba, Simla Wang to be Chanju Semba Kangla Sigura. Kalun said that Nanjurba Kangla, and the Beba Meba Drubese. Simla Wang to be Chanju Semba Tezo, Rang and Debet and Karina Tezo, Bazuchambo Meguach is a drup to Grace Sigura. Duba Kangla Ase, or Delia, and a Kalun Kuba Meba, Della Asura. And the social Tuelia, one Japesu Shipa, Katanya, the Tindelia, Koya Yoma, Koya Yoma Resigua. Oh, Mebatella Tate and the Chinso Toa Meban Eurose. Oh, Della Chute Meban Eurose, Tindetovia Tundalia, and it's Chimbata Sutim Sumala Soba, Tindechaba, Tundayoma Resigua. Oh. Kaya Kalun to Nirni Teneti Tena Lushi Chase. Kaya Sisamji, my Juru Kanu, or Jabudish Kesuna, Tichi Tima Katan and Namsa Tunda Tutunge, or Tindelia, Kaya Sisamji Kalun Drube, Lung Tendo Nerva Tenesura, Kaya Kalun to Nirni Cedra. Tene Kena Lushi Chase, or the Kevinanet, then Lumbushi Chawadrese. Karesna, Tetabu Wang Chimbutonge Jabudish Chavina. Don't remember Chimbu, Sawa Geshe 20 Tunda Mebe, Tiba Mambusa, or Tindretene, zaware te tandu nyege ore sigora.
So if we look at the commentary, that basically it says it is not appropriate to do so, and the verse reads, if we read the verse and the commentary in together, the first two lines of the verse say, "For one not in need of authority, practices for that end are meaningless." So the commentary states, for adepts who have gained mental control, this means the bodhisattvas, what are we calling the ultimate bodhisattvas, and can effortlessly accomplish whatever they desire. Practices such as giving for the sake of attaining worldly authority are senseless. They would never engage in such practices because they wouldn't need them. It's like purposeless. Whoever's okay, so then the next two lines are, whoever strives for authority is called a fool among men. So whoever strives for the authority of mere verbal domination is a fool among men, because he seeks kingship, a source of great futility. That means when you become a king, then you also incur a great many ill deeds. So then it would be you would be a fool to strive for such wealth. So you have to make a distinction between the bodhisattva seeing that becoming like a chakravartin who has, a world ruler or a universal sovereign, that becoming having that kind of ability to affect so many people's lives would be a great opportunity to work for their welfare. So then the bodhisattva, out of a motivation of wanting to help others, to work for their welfare, then would take that life, because it's a very effective life. But in this particular passage, we're talking about a motivation out of attachment and wanting, to have all these good things like power and pleasure, sources of pleasure, worldly pleasure, and so that's what's being repudiated. No.
That's right. Oh yeah. Then it is because that better. Pena chicken chilla puido one she yoba Nima Juna Chivar Shene motion to Teseba Shino Sigua. Mo Tenekasura. De Tendu Nyagate, Nelu Longe person saw by Yabuch and the one that Shambu San Tendu Nyene, Le Gavasaya de Lumburese. Don't remember Chimbezawa Reserva, deep petilous Guara, Lumbure, and I never teach a reser. Penetzigan, you could see Japshin get you in Ira, and they call you a Puchi, you don't want to pay Yabush you in Ira. I tell you, and they could see Jaduta, Nimatunico, she had a Hakugiora, Nimatune, Chivar Shenese, and then motion to call some doing Bugdi Tree, Lumba Shandajil Duyara, Lumba Shandajil Doni, Michisal Teshago, some Chenduyara. And Androsh de Teneparujico, motion to Done, Teneco, Mizu Karchak ambassador, Karchang Mugias, Pundi, Nimatu Nation get Ese, Mugiora, Teneco, Lumba Shandaj, Dotego, somebody, Teneco, Nimatu Sandro, you call Shiva this Sugio Mara. So to be a matter condition. Teneco de Sesha Resugora, actually share some Sesha Resugora. So go to Lumbure, and don't remember ourselves, Marocco, share what the Inaco, share this same Sugio Maro. This was Zako Sesha Resugora.
So, this is a story that illustrates that one sense that for those not in need of authority, practices for that end are meaningless. It's just sort of the senselessness or meaninglessness of such practices. And so then there was an astrologer who had a son who was a beautiful child and whom he loved greatly, but he saw, and when he did his what do you say, his chart, I guess we'd say, that he was going to die after 6 days. So then what he did is he said, well, I'll just take him to some other region of the country and leave him there and then come back. I couldn't bear to see him die. And so he made the trip, and you know, people were asking him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I have to do this because my son's going to die." And then when it got to the 6th day, he just couldn't bear the thought of his son dying, so he killed his son. So what more foolish or senseless is that? It's just, you know, it's because he couldn't bear the I mean, it's not, well, I guess it was somewhat certain that he was going to die, but he just couldn't bear to see his son die, so he killed him. It sounds really senseless, doesn't it? Well,
Chimari Chugbe Dendo Sebe Le Soba Kavane, Joachima Chugbuche Chedo, and Chimbatan Soba, Tende Le Sambosaya Seba Comela Soba Tezo, Digidoa, Dibavasana, Chanju Sambatezo, Tende Chigoma de Pa Mandubaresora. Kede Maobe, Kiawara Chubala Soba and Drebun Debe, Sonam Chao Shenase. Oh, Tenete Digimares Shegdo, the shed.
So here we're on the 5th part of this particular section, which is detailed repudiation of accumulating karma for the sake of high rebirth. And here, the 5th part is repudiating the accumulation of karma out of attachment to subsequent wealth. The assertion is one should do meritorious actions since one wants their effects, such as wealth, in future lives. Then for bodhisattvas, then this is senseless. So the answer is to that effect.
Quaque Kulenduyora, Saxegi Lesson in Duyora. Chajusembato call it Taria down Sanje Covanto Echedo, Masuchiora. Or digitally tell us Sebewange, Kevadina to Pua Maresigora. Tarbato, the Sanje Covanto, the Shambe Pembe Chilus, the Drewange Keva to Buddhist Tisha de Yora.
So when you look at this, you have to understand that the distinction that whether you do virtuous or non-virtuous actions, if you do it out of the motivation of craving and so forth, all it does, well, craving is the word, craving or attachment, then you're, it only brings about rebirth into cyclic existence. So then we're making this distinction here where the bodhisattva doesn't do that. A bodhisattva is only motivated by wanting to help others and to be of benefit to others, to work for their welfare. So then when you compare that, these two motivations, then the motivation to out of attachment then is something that has to be repudiated.
Yes,
but in general, ourselves, for people like ourselves, we have to accumulate meritorious action with the thought that in our next lifetime we need what do you say? I don't know, wealth, but we need all the resources that then we won't be overcome by not having those resources and never be able to practice the teachings. So we have to have we have to create the meritorious karma that's going to bring that about, and then so then our at the initial level that we're at, then we have to engage in those practices.
Dile sebe kone lesa yo mara. Ludin de tumni de tone ni taba tamje kemba tup tuguri sam. Diche do lesa yo ra.
So then persons at the more advanced levels of spiritual development, like those who are headed towards liberation and omniscience, then those persons, they also need a life that has those requisites so that they can practice the teachings in order to attain their goal of liberation and omniscience. So, but it's really that they're not thinking like, well, if I have it, it's going to be a great source of pleasure and something, and then out of attachment, thinking, well, I have to have that human life. They're not thinking like that. They're only thinking about that. Then, if they have that human life that, or human or deity life that then can serve as the framework for them to attain their goal. And so it's out of that kind of motivation, not out of attachment to the pleasures and so forth.
Chakbe Chana's Chakbam Sebe, and it Chakba the Debur Chakbes Yora, Chanas Yora, Date and Debulia, Debu Nyandu, Tumanyongwe, Chakba de Mao Ben Debus Yora, Chakba de Mao Ben Debuse, Mao Tanya Tongjurnas, Mao Ben Debu, Tang Ambassador, Tasu Tang Ambassador to Jasgora, Tamadeling Ambatungamongores, Tanis, the Tang Ambanisira, and Tanya Tongjurnas, Tangamba Doalia, and Doa de Tongar Jurnas, Tongar Jurnas, Tongjuna, Jiba Madam Chishi, and a Tangamba Koe Tungamabunyoeti, Ton and Jibi Mendugasora, Chakbe Chishi. Nyandro dar shola seba mechawati inde nyandro yutuna nyasonli keni chikba yore sebe wange le ge wasana khoale tigre te ni khoye dunge nyongure te sonze chakbe jishi je de nyanru de chölen sebar meja o sigora jiba medam jishi je se de sigora tenen des
so again if we read the two together, okay, where we put the verse and the commentary together. The verse starts out with a view to future effects. You grasp at practices out of greed. So, if on realizing that there will be future effects such as wealth, one grasps at practices like giving and so forth, out of greed and attachment, one will have to experience many unfortunate rebirths as a result of that attachment. So it's really saying here you have to avoid that grasping and attachment. So the next line say, when you see the future outcome, why are you not afraid? So the commentary then says, when you see that the future outcome of such attachment is a unfortunate rebirth, aren't you afraid? What use is attachment? Just as you do not grasp at an unfortunate rebirth, do not grasp at practices either.
Drisa. Pena mekebe tungejebe ne nyawashindo sigdwa. Pena mekeba mayimba tozoge. Tungejebe ne sajetinde nyawashindo sigdwa. De dindeji mendro samsadwa. Me ko ni hakura. Simje dinde simyege. Ko ni dinde shaje ne simye dinde yora.
Yora.
Langje dinde simguna satu. Tiganchida kapti ni langje de chandu samyon de tesa simje mabusugi yora. Dinde ne se insere samjadwa. Ni la soba dinde simje simyege. Saje dinde nyene. Ko donge mabu tigwa mabu sagore. Ko donge mabu nyege junyo derwa shinyo derwa. Dina shin sebe wangele sana quality na ya shanda donge nyege. Chedu lesa yora spediti cha insere samjadwa. Sebe chi.
So he did mi keba chigi or what sagogi or
Mare mikeba ko million busara ko ba. Mikeba sigara. Pena mikeba sigara mikeba mai ba lumbutege sigara.
Lumbute.
Ten so tungenyo ai sache de nyobere sigara.
Sache de nyobere de
nyene ko dunge mambu sagiora. Mambu sagiora. Korale kange mambu yongi jera. This is jera.
The example here is like a person who buys a place that gives rise to suffering. It's just like the place is like I don't know what. A snare or something that like when hunters are they use these for elephants apparently that you can dig a deep pit and then cover it with something and the elephants will fall into it, and so then the example is kind of like that the place that you bought is like one of those, it's just like a source of great suffering.
Tangiba suna membe le soba kakba sigdwa. Suna membe le soba kakba se. Tene lawa dabu sunam ne namgu jamba tangsung gyuru kanda kewa mendo ba teta megi chidar chese. Sunam mai basidu megi le sigora. Sunam gilesu keveleje. Sunam mai basidu megi le soba kagyora. Lawa dabu sunam ne sigdwa. Lawas de lajalene lega chinge yorba la lenche. La etendo leche ba lawa tabu sonam nese. Soso lajalene kepsan chi yo samje. Ene tanda mi roba che lega mabu chi yora. Di sigora la etendo leche ba lawa tabu sonam nese. Namba kwendo temba dan songbar gyurdo ove kebe sebe kune lande sonam je le kya meche nas. Oh, tene, Mama Balia, Debut in the younger something Debut de la Sebe Wangi, nearly longe Pusum Soba. Oh, Tendel Sebe Wangi, any Tanda Kewach Tuba Tezosigora. Oh, Tene, number Kundo Koi Kichi Kusonza, the Karsode, Tungegi Jume, Koi Keve Jure, some Yabumare, some any Quebec Kunelande, Sonam de Lega Sagi or Mare Sera. Tumena Keba Ganda Koe Jurtone. Seba Kebe Kewa Mendova Dagis, Koa Keba Dezo, Kora Kege, and a Lada Milli Sebe Konete Kevele to Sebe Wangi Cheba Mendova, Dugio Maresura Kewa Mendova, Tase. Miki was una Membele, Chiderche, number Kundu Pangbajote, Miki was a Teleja, Sagmari, Miki was another Koen and a Duga, Miasola Soba Tezuliki or Vasgora. Lava Debu Sunam, the number Namgu Tenda, Tembatang Sung Jurchela, Kanda Kewa Medeba, Teda Migichidarches.
So, this next verse, 173, is repudiating accumulation of demeritorious actions, demeritorious karma, or non-virtuous karma, or destructive karma, however you like to think of that. So, again, reading the verse and the commentary together, the verse states in the first two lines, merit is in every way just like a wage for a wage earner. So just like a wage earned by a worker, merit will come to resemble a payment. If you engage in collecting, meritorious karma, or as it says here, or virtuous karma, for the sake of getting something in your next lifetime, then with attachment, then it's just like you're getting paid off for what you do. And so then, therefore, the wise do not do even meritorious actions motivated by attachment. So the wise, understanding that the wise here means these higher level bodhisattvas who are then, not going to engage in meritorious actions because they don't want to be reborn helplessly into cyclic existence. That they're avoiding being reborn into cyclic existence, so they avoid this motivation by attachment. And so when the next two lines is, how could those who do not want even virtue do what is non-virtuous? So when the wise do not even want to, the virtue that produces worldly existence or cyclic existence, then because it's motivated by attachment, then because of seeing it as a cause for cyclic, for the cycle of rebirths, they're seeing that they're avoiding meritorious actions that will bring about a cyclic existence because of the motivated by attachment or craving. Then how could they do demeritorious actions which are non-virtuous? So it's kind of, anyway, in the English it doesn't, in the Tibetan there's two different words, so but it's defining what demeritorious means. It means non-virtuous. So then why would they do non-virtuous actions why would, I think it's better to say instead of actions in this case, it's just why would they engage in non-virtuous karmic actions or collect or create non-virtuous karma, however, and then therefore they always avoid such actions or such karma.
That's right. That's better. Pena rangate rangi kamdru chi suebana kebu nyungwar neba te sueso she kurata bashino sigdwa. Rangata sita pango sang chi long jendrongi mi kyobo shiwa imbira. O tene tege kola kalanda chi raa imbira chi long chi raa imbira. Ati rane ko to seche ni ti tsa shimbu cheche ko kurangi tukluk nande tsuti che. Ani yabuji share. Ti share ko doba shendashi drawing bro. Ani ti ti de ko nyungne tange nyungne sa go do kala ma sebji tenge go do. Nyungne. Kala ma sebji chiruba tu zuen changso zu mangbu yo da. Kala ma sebji ha de nyeba yo ya tunda ka he tunda lia. Ani nga kala ma sebji te de nyungne sig do ko. Kala ma se tenge. Oh ya. Tende jebu se chi che tene mikashe Kebu says ku nyungnel de la nyeba tuwe chido kala masabje says de o dene ko so yende ko kala de chiji sandro embere mide ko tulo nyingba ko ra so tuma yoba tinde na pesha yore sora de chiji sare ta ko so sam o de kebu bude ko nyungne de ga se to to se ne de se sha sha ene ko ja kira nyungne sumaresha kira ngedi kala kanga se to gas la gresgara o dina shi resgara ko da bashindo sera
so the example here is of a beggar, a very destitute beggar, who just somebody living very poorly and just could only survive on
and it's a person so what in this I hear in Timas and the Quinune Tangore, Kukalama de Candes Agres and Pedro. Or Betty Joyetta.
So his name is Rangata, and so he found some badly cooked food and wrapped it in a stinking pus-stained rag, is the way it is translated here. But basically, he got some food, which he's so destitute, and he found some food, and so he ate part of it, and then, well, he wanted to save it, so he just sort of wrapped it in. He only had like very smelly rags, of course, and so then he wrapped it and buried it underground, and then went out looking for more food. So then at the same time there was a prince who was fasting in the service of his deity. This is just a custom, in Indian custom, to practice this kind of it's like a day fast, and so then while the king was doing this, a dog found this rag covered food, and it could, even though everything smelled, the dog can still find it, and he dug it up and ate it. And so when the beggar came back and found it wasn't there, he accused this prince who was fasting of breaking his fast and stealing and eating his food. then it's sort of like the example here is that the prince, who could very easily eat whatever he wanted, why would he want to, just like why would we, the bodhisattva doesn't collect, when a bodhisattva doesn't even collect meritorious actions, then why would a bodhisattva collect, non-virtuous actions? So it's just like the prince could eat whatever he wants. So why would he eat that smelly, stinky food of the beggar?
Oh yeah. Sumba le pangbe ko ba tembala ni sigdwa le siduko sebe wange le sakba sakje ji le sigora ti pangbe ko ba tembala ni sigdwa nelu tokbe kheba nam seba pane thaban roda chegi nelu tongba ni la soba tokbe kaza dezo kheba dezo yani koye ne kangla ya nelu longji pisun soba kangla ya seba pangne yani ko tharba thomto yore sigora Keba nam turi laya sebe kawa mesemna keba dezo turi ki penju pisum soba lu pisum soba dezo laya kawa digi mare sera sebe kawa digi mare sora mejene kyoa dan tumbe lela kawa meseba was kyoa ne dezo le tele kya kawa digi mare sti shegdwa ta dina ne tangbo melu tobe keba la seba pane tabar roa se de shegdwa
So in the next two verses are on the final topic, which is explaining the need to abandon contaminated karma, or to eliminate contaminated karma. The first one is the wise. That's somebody who understands reality or understands emptiness, then eliminates attachment and reaches liberation. Then also the second part here is the final verse. Then will be under the topic of when the wise do not enjoy even a high rebirth out of attachment, their enjoyment of states consistent with aversion is impossible. So they would oh yeah. Tandako seba dele kyonchugdo seba seba chaba dele ra well seba de pansuna sebe wange ninga mogo wange lesa yo mara kwa je ke lesa to sa yo mara seba de mena ngema sa shebe le yo ne dele ya sötamge sira sötamge o bena ngazo o salia duris tabshane chu tanane dia sobusia jobache ngura lele ya kenchen ya nubachembu songege de seba ge suyara benangazo shigalam keba seba kubalemba sigdo sako seba tanda ge ne lulonju la se mao bana chi thom na samga chi thonggo ji ko samsam deba yongora shigalama sebe wange ne koya ne de lude tezulange wara teza ko seba de pana sebe wange ko apenji le saba sagyo mara and then I saw you seba de mana, seba pana, Java seba kuba lemba de mana, and lele a certain the Koyakiva lent of your marwa. Sako seba de pangja so cheja, Koyakiva kayet and the sebat pango the t-shirt. You have to keep in mind that the focus here is that the Bodhisattva is seeking to eliminate craving. Craving is what the word nurtures a karma, okay, and then that karma is ready to, like if you look at the 12 links of dependent arising, or the 12 factors of dependent arising, then it's those two that there's craving, and then there's grasping, and then those nurture that karmic seed that then it becomes what we call existence or potential existence, and the 10th link. So then, or the 10th factor. So seeing that so what a bodhisattva is seeking to do is to eliminate that attachment, and then when attachment is eliminated, then the bodhisattva, this is on the first ground, then doesn't create any karma that projects a new lifetime into cyclic existence. So they're really going after that one thing that's sort of holding them into cyclic existence, and that is this one factor called craving or attachment.
Nelu tokbe keba nam seba pangne tabar roa nesigdwa. Nelu tokbe tongba ni tokbe keba pagbe kansa dezoge. Ane seba de koye nelu lonju kanle ko seba de panne ane koale tarbal duyo resigora. O di kange roa chugur ke sonda sigdwa. Siba nam koala kawar se gese ngaranzo sose kyoto zone koye lu pesum choba lonju pesum choba toye tondal kewe lesa gyora. Chibanam koala kawar sages, Koene Longi Prism Sobalia, Thabkhe some telashene, and the Kawatuguara. Oh, then the Kangi Roa Trugurges, Tendela Ranshim Ebangusum do Tove Keba Kangi Sigora, Roa Trugurges, and the Chinagi Roa, Tene comes from Gindoa to Kanga, Shingle Trube Keba than Pemege, number Nave Trugurges or than Drawa Dase. Kangi Roa Trugurges on Dase. Shingdabutin Delia, Kebada permit in the Yawutin the Social, Pata do the Mune Yawus do some such Mingone in Besson to Tungiada. Yena called Mingone to Gui Homarwa. Or dinner she should do a shingle. Shing social getting the Sigora.
Oh.
This one?
Kebada
permit number Dramadaco, Minashi, Ninja Yawutin the Sugiorwa. Oh, number nave. Trugur gets on Drawa Nasudwa. Kangi Dua Trugur gets on Da Sedra. Kumekibutar Tongurus, Kumekibus, Rangshingi Trube Tonya, Ternawas, Rangene, Yabata Yomar, the Koran when she do some Yabuda to good she do some Nazutugi or no. What this on the Kumekibunashi, Tongi or a Guma Tusha, the Peneta, Lambo Keba, the Pemetos, one name but a Tongi or a chick, one Jennifer. Yomara Tonashi Yomarwa, what this Yora. Ranshingi Trube Tonya, Ternawe, Kumekibutar Tomar Gurwa, Teda, Korwa Lesigua, Sonda, Kumekibutar Tomar Gurwa, Teda Asigua, Che Savar Koban Tambandro Sigua, Tene, Koale, Kene, Che Savar Koban Tamba Tarba, the Tamje Kemba. Draw and Guru Gudes or she savage and savage, we savage general. Oh, dear. Draw the Guru, Nelu get Sembala Caber show, what in the Tombani Nelu de Abotavina, and a Coyulia, Chayadi, Shenjadi, Chunduso to Giora. And Garanzo, when you going to do something, Chabata Tikiora. So talk about so do some Saturday. Tend to be Homarwa. They do Nelu Tobalam Bear, in a Sevama, a Chunur in your do your lesson with all.
So the verse reads, whoever sees phenomena is like a collection of mechanical devices and like illusory beings, most clearly reaches the excellent state. So the commentary then goes into this. Remember that the topic here is the wise, okay, the bodhisattva, then who understands reality, who understands emptiness, then knows emptiness, eliminates attachment, and reaches liberation. So they're seeking to eliminate this attachment through and in that way to attain liberation. So only childish people like cyclic existence. The wise who directly perceive dependent arising as lacking inherent existence see external and internal phenomena is like a collection of mechanical devices made of wood that look like men and women. And it's an example here that the wise have this. They have a clear understanding of anything internal or external as lacking inherent existence, and and it still, though, so it appears to them to have these good qualities and so forth, or bad qualities from its own side, but due to understanding that is not so, then they see this appearance as just being like, because it's appearing to have those qualities, then it's just like a mechanical devices made of wood that look like men and women. It's an example of their falsity. So then, those who see phenomena as empty of inherent existence, so they're seeing that they understand that phenomena are empty of this kind of objective or existence from their own side, yet appearing like illusory people. It's just like appearing like an illusion, where the magician is creating a horse and elephants that really seem like real elephants, but it's really just an illusion. So they understand that it's just like an illusion, they understand the emptiness of there, so then they here the idea is that they, well, if you go back to where it says only childish people like cyclic existence, it's the childish people are not like that, okay, that they, instead of seeing it as like an illusion, and that it doesn't exist from its own side, then they understand it, they see it as existing from its own side, and they crave it. They go after it. So the bodhisattva then, with this understanding of emptiness, is undermining that process, so that they don't. So the craving is reduced, and so that and then gradually reduced, such that then they traverse cyclic existence and most clearly reach the excellent states of liberation and omniscience.
보면 remoke treasure sotonge trigor기 미다지 담다 소통게 미치요 임버와 데 remoke 봐 시비지 요사살니 마칠렘네코 데 나를 대비 임버레 그래서 데데자고 되네 trigor 캔기 trigor기 보면 remoke 못사와라 잖아 remote 개바 시비지 아니 trigor 소통게 개바 시비지 살고 레버레 텔레도에네 되게 두고 개바 되게 변매지 소유제 배 인도가바 시비 소유제 근데 코요사 땅하래 대 코요사 땅데 고 삼대네 어디 변매지 청강에서 땅하래 삼제 거기 근데 그 락반 주간 줘야 락반 주도자고 싱그레 소리 싱기 트랜지트 소리 근데 고 찾아죠 땅 앞에 뭐 잡으셔서 리마선 삼버와 근데 삼대자고 땅에 봐 렌지 제고래 삼제 근데 그 리모트이제 코랑 때데 리모야고 시비티제고 얘네 디 가서래 리모케 코랑 낭신이 지티제 대신에 정시 겸게지 정시 겸게지 디제는 그 대샤래 내가 보내 아는데 다코베든 디미르자 코랑시 겸샤 삼버 민고네스로 통하러 얘네 코리시 나게 그래 시부들은 어자게 코넬루 마신자 지들은 어자게 지들 신나게 그래서 넬루시에서는 근데 용기 말했어야 진짜로
So then the example of this to master painter and a master mechanic, so they're both very skilled at what they do. So a master painter was staying in the home of the master mechanic, who, as a joke, sent a mechanical woman to him. He was staying up in some room, and so he made this mechanical woman and sent it up to him, thinking that she was a maid who had been sent to him to enjoy, and with whom he could do as he pleased. He took her hand only to find that it was hard wood. He felt mortified. And to take revenge, he said, "Oh, I'm going to get even with this painter." And so I'm going to get even with this mechanic. I don't know if they were good friends, but he felt mortified and to take revenge, painted himself committing suicide. He's a very skilled painter, and he put on the wall, he painted himself committing suicide. So then, when the master mechanic saw it, he felt remorse and thought the painter had killed himself in shame after touching the mechanical device. No,
sebe kawar mesemna kyowa dan jesu tumbe nela kawa misibas nibadi shekdwa tuni
sorona girgo manwa
kades
de kasa de the subject de girga
yeah.
So then when we're on the second section here, when the wise do not enjoy even a high rebirth out of attachment, their enjoyment of states consistent with aversion is impossible. Also.
Da kangda la ne khoa na se derwa kangda la ne khoa na su ne lu je ton la kebe keba kangda la ne se yora tongba ni tongge keba kangda la se yora kangda la ne khoa na se yunam je ja kamme na se khoa le ya ne kawa je ba dan chesu tembe yu yi do wa ene sudan ta da ti ne lu long je pesum so ba la so ba te zo le ko kashin se ba yo ma re se yora yunam je ja kamme ba se do Yesu den la soba ne lu lonju suda te rejala so pisum soba ya kawaki mare sigyordo kame ba teda alander namgu do kawate ba mai ni se teda la kyowa da jesu tumbe so da kyowa jebe shi chengenge ne kyowa jeba da jesu tumba kyowa jebe kyuchengenge ne tumbe kyowa kawa da koelo kyowa da kawa da ne nela soba tezula kawa chidare yu tena teda koa der namba kundu sebe kawa teba maimba nido sigdwa kandala ne koa na yu pisum soba nelu lonjula tezula kawa yu amare serwa te mene teda liya ne namba kundu kawa teba tunghe jewe shi chengenge ne keba da nawa da kewala soba kowe o tezula chileja kawa chig mare se seba chig mare se atondara
So here we could read the verse and the commentary together. For those who do not, the verse goes, for those who do not enjoy any objects in cyclic existence, it is altogether impossible to take pleasure in this world. In this world. So when those who are wise, okay, with regard to the meaning of reality, that they know emptiness, then they do not enjoy or crave even those objects in cyclic existence which are normally enjoyable. When normally enjoyable, we can consider just our place in our body and our resources and the objects of the six senses or the five senses or six senses, we can say. Then then they're not at all craving or thinking to enjoy such things. Then, so then how can they enjoy the source of birth, aging, and so forth, which normally cause aversion? Just why would they then enjoy those things that are the basis for those things in cyclic existence that are that we understand that are a cause of suffering for us, and therefore we have aversion. So then they wouldn't have any kind of interest in cyclic existence. Well.
Oh yeah, that better. Pena kushe trongirdo legdong chembe kolo gyue Geshe la neba tsumu geji shedong pangne samden shi jeba shino sigdwa. Ane yu tene kusha se trongjina le tenge sirwa. Chanju semba redwa, chanju semba legdong shi jawa ne kolo gyue jeba chene topda ngada pyusun soba shibiji wa yinra. Oh, Geshe la neba tsumu ane geji shedong ngeme loksori chira tsumu mabu nyaya shingdwa. Geji shedong de pangne ane samden shi te paane ko ala ngebar jungne ane te paane tingi komne samden tangbu nyeba sumba shibala sokbe ngushi nyumchu tusu keba shi noo sigi wara o di taa konda karsikre koya nelu longju liya nachane ne tende chigi wari se chanju samba namchi sigi wara o di pe sumba tsam yin se wara pe sun samre chanju samba mangbo ge ane tende pusum sokbe koya kewa tende langche samjeng tondo tenia tele ngeban jone chuche anda tinde tichigare te mau ban ngaran su tabulia shenji chakba majere cheche ne chutu gurese kuma che tondar shirwa ene nganju sanje jaba tinde ba teba chimbu na shinchena ane chi kimle shu tiche tende rabdu chu koe ni mesi ane luju kawa che tinde che de ngaranzulia koe ne lu lonjule chaje de na de kwa daga de tezole shenja chungru tane tende chegure se ngaranzo lapse kya tendal jegi wada mujin nation sigdo.
So how could they have aversion for that? I didn't read this last sentence. Thus for them there is never any joy out of attachment to cyclic existence, no matter what. So then it's like the following analogy. In the city of Kushinagar, Shudarshana gave up 84,000 queens because he saw the faults of sense objects and developed the 4 concentrations. So this is an example of what we should do. This person is a bodhisattva, so the bodhisattvas are often being reborn into cyclic existence, and then they totally give up attachment to any of the pleasures of cyclic existence and strive to do some kind of dharma practice. And so this bodhisattva Mahashudarshana was he gave up all the pleasures. He was obviously a very powerful king, and then just concentrated on the meditative stabilizations. These are states because states of the form realm where you're going from the first concentration to the 4th concentration, and then you would get these super knowledges. So he was achieving these super knowledges, and so if we look at the Buddha's life, it's much the same. These lives of the bodhisattvas and the way Buddha came in this world are examples of what we have to do. So then we have to give up our attachment to cyclic existence and strive for the Dharma, just like when Buddha was born into a royal family and had all the pleasures and enjoyments of his status as a prince. He gave them all up and what do you say, made great effort at meditation for very difficult meditative practice for 6 years and attained his goal of liberation. From the viewpoint of the Mahayana, that was to show us. I mean, he was doing this intentionally in order to. He'd already attained Buddhahood, but he was doing this intentionally to show us how we have to proceed, how we have to give up our craving for cyclic existence, and then practice the Dharma.
Sudan, Chada, Rida, Jordan, Rexala, Soban, Doyanga, the Tone, Dele Shenji Chakbekone, Le Gewada Miguel Sagiora. Oh, Tezokanga, some Nesor, Tenangar Sheba, the Sudala Sobe, Yuki, and then Nimi, some Nature, some Latane. Nelu Gitola, Keber Chades, Teda, Nelu Tartubate, Tombani, Togba Chade, Sudwa. Lana maybe Chanju Tubala Chumber Chaos, Sanji Koma Tubal Chungudese, Dirmebase. Mida dunge legbar samjane mida bada dunge wala soba legbar samne ane kowe dunge kyonjirang shi thongase dunge jaso tingda mebe gyu sukso yula tezu kanga la chakbe gyu de karesne sukso yula seba de rese chakba de rese gora sukso yula seba nampang de ese lame chanju tola chambar chaase sanje ji koma tobala chambar chaas tuye suksu chaba osa ane di karsore Niba Louis Saint Damane, Chanju Sembenaju Shigabe, Lagbar Shebe, Nimbushi Chawale, Minikin Debe, Longela, Mombarshimba Pangbe, Taptamba, the Rapchit Tumbati Redwa. Oh, yeah,
thus has been explained previously, after considering the disadvantages of sense objects, one should become wise with regard to the meaning of reality and strive to attain unsurpassed enlightenment. So we have to then consider whether it's meritorious action or demeritorious action. Meritorious karma or demeritorious karma. Then we have to consider the disadvantages of cyclic existence or attachment to sense objects, and then strive to understand emptiness means the meaning of reality, and then through that we can then work hard to also attain enlightenment. And so then there's a summarizing verse that says, thinking thoroughly about impermanence and suffering, give up craving for objects such as visual form. The cause for this bottomless, boundless ocean of suffering, and strive to attain unsurpassed enlightenment. So the essentially here, through thinking about impermanence and suffering, and then we can get rid of what is it that causes us to be reborn into cyclic existence, which is this craving or attachment, and then so then in that way then we can strive to attain enlightenment. And this is the end of the 7th chapter, which is the chapter that shows the means to give up craving or clinging to objects of enjoyment, the enjoyments that humans desire.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yes, this one.
Tangani Rabji did it, Dakar. Oh yeah. Rabji Jabba Derwa. Loma Yongsu Chong Asidwa. Loma Chongju Shekdwa. shiba lam gyula kebe nirung du chuba las lam gyula kebe nirung du chuba sheba lome gyu yonso chongwe tabden ba sikdwa lome simgyu di ba changyage chongjige ne tabden kidwa liyu shung sheba che liyu chen she ta liyu shung she dele tunze kandusna dambu liyu shung dele sum nyomo pong nebe kyusen shekdwa ane nyomo pongzu sheba kandis pangos pongzu sheba yangsi chimbar nyingzam chorwe kewa la thoma meja yangsi chimbar nyingzam chorwe dambu kewa la ke thoma yo mare de ane sebe ta yo ba bezu chigine kewa thoma di se ne kwa la tarya yo aris yo ra dambu nyomo pong nebe kyusen dele ya ni shekdwa nyomo pong nebe ngoye te da nyomo pang du rongwe nyomo koran pang rung yin be tsu shekdwa da dambu nga zo nyomo ngoye je tuyo je karsore nyomo pong nebe kyusen di shekdwa ngoye je tuyo nyomo pong rung be kyusen ngone di shekdwa dine ma ho diba do chilab na
So in this chapter, we're showing the methods of fully training the student's mind, making it receptive to the development of spiritual paths. And the first section here is why disturbing emotions can be abandoned or can be eliminated, the reasons of how why those can be abandoned. Then there's explaining extensively how to eliminate the disturbing emotions, and finally that's showing by analogy that though birth connecting one with the next existence is beginningless, it has an end. So then why disturbing emotions can be abandoned has these two sections that are the actual meaning of what are the causes that bring about this, and then showing how it is possible to eliminate the disturbing emotions. So this verse 176 is the actual meaning.
This one. Oh yeah, that don't put in there. Oh yeah. Don't do it. Tama mebane kombe de cha ki chwa chider pon ne she na sigdwa. Ta chwa toma mebane kazta lian rosa tome gyune namines de. Chwa toma mebane de cha kondo nga jele so bal kom ne yone de shukche ne yon de yora. Kende toma mebane kombe de cha ki chwa de kandes pon tu gres yora. De cha ki chenta kanga kondo nga jele so ba. Kandes pon tu de chwa toma mebane te chanjel kom je te ne yon de yore. Tanda tindis te yore thoma mebane chene pang matu bare ta kandis pang yore si yora o samlu ko yara o shena se chidar mithu te thok res yora pong thok res yora chidar mithu min namlan zawa yendo mine ba se tishi kula Geshe la dosha yore mine so se chidar mithu shin zawa minala chidan zaba yobe che ina kuni tumbura mebeche tumbu mena sigora chidar mithu minamla zawa yure mena ko chamboje de yure bu de tok mare sigora o chidar mithu minamla zawa yure mine pasido kishi kwela Geshe la docha yure mine so taga na shi chakbe kwene langbe zawa yure do mine ba teshin do sigora nenjor ba china je ngobu kwela tishin kwela sigdo teshin do se Najorba China Jungo Kun la se Tishi Kun la Geshe la se Kun la Mendoba Tumaki be Kun de Sheba la se Mendoba Tumaki yoba and they take Kun Mabu Tunga Mabu Tingi yoba Tigi yoba de Hakos na She Sona Sugora Sorsona se Tishi Kun la Geshe la Dosha Yuri Mineso se and they tell a chakba de Yuri to Negma Resigora Karesana Lekbartana, Zawa Metembe Pon Yusos, Kotak Shirachigina, Queen Yomogu Zawa de Demboke Yomare, or this was a pont to Grace Yora, or pont to the Shegba.
So the question here in this section is how do we escape from the bondage to craving to which we have, from the bondage of craving to which we have been accustomed since beginningless time? So the idea is that we've been it's such a deep habit that since beginningless time we've become more and more habituated to it. So with such a deeply habituated quality of our minds, how could we possibly get rid of it? So it's addressing how it is possible. So the verse then says, just as a friendship between people who disagree does not last long, craving does not last long when all things' faults are recognized. So here, the commentary says a friendship is motivated by attachment between people who, in this case, who are not very amicable and who disagree all the time. They don't really get along. They're trying to make a friendship. It's not something that's going to last long. So then, similarly, desire does not last long for an adept, somebody who's skilled in practice. Then this desire or craving, shall we say, the craving does not last long for an adept who sees the faults in all external and internal things, which give rise to many unwanted consequences. Sorry. So that they recognize the faults, and it's through then recognizing the faults then that they can get rid of this craving. So when properly investigated, its root is found to be unstable, and thus one can get rid of it. So it's coming to the understanding that the root of these faults is very unstable, and then because of its instability, then one can eliminate it.
Nyomo kangla kewe shi nyeba mebe pandu rungani yuji nyeba tongwe nyomo pong nyoba mases nyomo pong tukure shida yu korang le kyon samlo torsona ne ko dele seba den dog dugu doa shirwa di tali shesarwa yuji nyeba tongwe nyomo pong nyoba mases ene mase shidi demba mebe chiryan pong nyodese yido owa da me owa karina rangune 소수 이도 와지 통고에 때 통하는 시 템바 마레세 카셰게 이도 메와 통고에 카셰게 바르마 통고요레스요라 시 템바 메베 체리야 뽕뉴데세 되자네 차제응어볼라 라레딘 줄라 되자세고 차제응어보디 이도 와지 통네 와 전에 텔레아 대왕게 차버지요라 바시요라 대아랑게 ngo니 주바메데 어디야 얘도 홍아 통화데 코랑게 통화나시 덴바요 말에 코랑 통화나시 랑은에 요 말에스 거라 디메베 인디 교센디 시에도 오네마 yeah.
So the commentary points out what was being described here is that disturbing emotions or the afflictions can be eliminated not only through seeing the faults in these objects, but also because those faults, the basis of these, those objects, the basis of these faults lack true existence. It's because we see them. The instability is that we do see them as existing from that's somehow truly existing, and when in fact they don't truly exist. So then that is what's at the basis of all the faults. So if we can then understand their lack of true existence, then we can undermine the craving for these objects.
Oh, can you do?
Bede go get the
Pedimandura.
right.
Oh, just I did do slow, ma. You didn't do shara anything. Nor the Shana.
Dig it.
Tama de la Shana. Did love you,
Laptara, what did comes out the Bede mother.
Pedimado, Pedilab Jun that. Shanda loves her.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Pena Tramse, Geshe Chava, Pangma Lembe Tusu, Shunume Lane, Tramse, Barman. Juice Mingrava, Tamsi Geshe Chava, Pangma Lane, Co Chance Jamne, Jagalo Seneshi Chansigora, Lembetus Shunume Lagbane, Zin de Balas, Jagalo Sureche, Tuloni di Chigene, Lagbaris Juice in the Chagoda. Yazako Zin de Bala, Tembese, Tomba Sanjum Dende, Tamsen Dena Ching said, Chitaku Chisungu and Baratico, Tamba Yenata, Tersigduaco. Jambendira Tobare Sigara. Tramsen Del na Chings, Tramse de Shanda than Del Sonane, Koala Chingri Sigara. Del na number dress, Delo de Partesona, and a troll to race on the Coterne, Tembashi Samlocorne, Teneco Carsore, Coet in the Machava Church, Dajon Baloso, and the Tom to race Sigua. Oh, dear Carsore. Tramsen Del na said, Tramsen Del said, Then draw the change chakbat radiora. The Kunjun di Tangiores or Yamoti Chegdoa. Ching said, Tene, Yamdo del ne Tungete Alasobatis de Tungetem but Shegishara. Telnans de Jawar Sheba de Lam de Shegishara. Number 12 the Godin de Shegishara. Jacko de some look at the Dembashi de some corne. Any Pagbe Demba Shila Tagbe, some corne, and a Tajumba. Tobashinos better da. Oh, did you love that?
So the analogy is of a young Brahmin called Gyu who was getting married. He wanted to hold his young bride's hand, and apparently the Buddha was present at that time, and he said, "Brahmin boy, relationship is bondage. Separation is freedom." And so then, when it's some, I don't know how present the Buddha was or not, but Gyu heard this, and then, based upon this, analyzed the Four Noble Truths, and then through that he achieved. The goal of Arhat. The idea is here that the Four Truths are capsulized by the Buddha's statement. So relationship is bondage, and so then here this is talking about the true sufferings and true sources of suffering, and then. Separation is freedom. Is talking about the path, true paths, and then freedom would be true cessations. So the Brahmin boy got the message.
Yeah. Tatundako, Chichidanko, Shenja Samaterwa, Chabe Yudida, Lonibiko, Del Dudeco, de Nico. Shenji Chaga Joint Kanga Yungura. Chabe, you did a Pashana, Shebakora Kaga Doshana Haneko, Shenja the Mavri Dugara.
So the message here is that it's through our attachment to the objects that of cyclic existence that all our striving, all our craving increases and increases. So if you separate yourself from sense objects and so forth, then you can gradually free yourself from that craving.
Nemo Jesa Shitilla Tendeke Yomare, Samsana, Kasha Tilla Nemo Tigre, Kasha Tigmare, and Sosoyana Capchil Nemo Tigre, Capchil Tigmare, Tindeco, Kagan Drotovici, Yorisesa, Nemo Kala maybe Shitilla Tende Yomare, Samsala, the Shakiri, Samsala Condri Tigre, Roa, Samsala Soso Shenja Tigre, Yam Shenja Mavish, Dugiore, Tindeco, Nemo the Pantugre, Kare Nemo Kala maybe Shitilia. Tende Yomare, Sigora, the Shaki Badakova. She never made a pound of Roase. You more gave a good temper mebata. You more gave a young as you don't want the year to know the country Tungine. The Ton and Shintata Yomare, Tondi by using when she ever the Tungiora. Or Tende Tembatata Yomare, this on the Pantugre, Sigora. You more gave a good temper mebata. You more pon Minube to Chikawa, and you more pon Tugmare. And the me Rangshin, Kyo Toma Mebani Ombersana, Tende Marapan to Grace, she shake. Numo Mabamba to Maton and Gama. I Numo Pan to win a dozen, me Mambo Numo Pamba Yongore, Toya Mendoa. By me Mangsha, Numo Mabam Jan, then they can't read it to us, or dear Tene, Gawayo Marese, Numo Mabamba to Maton, Numo Pamba Meb and Gagi Mares, she shake. Oh, this you love that.
Here, what's being explained is that disturbing emotions can be abandoned because their focal basis is not definitive. Here, the idea is that just if we want to say afflictions can be eliminated because the focal basis is not definitive. Here the focal basis is saying about how objects and people and objects for some people that it's attractive, for some people then not attractive, and there's just such a variety of responses. So the message of that is that it's not any one way or the other. So it's not definitive, and so then because that is so, then there's an opening there for us to somehow understand that through some kind of understanding, then that we can overcome those. We can eliminate that some people are attached, some people are angry, and so forth. That because there's no definitiveness there, then there is room for us to abandon those, or to eliminate our afflictions with regard to those focal objects.
Nemo Kala maybe she never maybe Pandora the Shakdoa. Or you never told Nemo Pondever Masses. You could turn the Samlotan design, Telia, call Chakba de Mavre, did I? Regadoas, Tendation upon to which the was. Oh, Tene, you never told Nemo Pondever Masse. She temba maybe Nemo Jessaga shitty, Yido Oa, da Yido Meoada, Tende Tungi Orati, so Tona Nashi. Temba Yomare, so Tondi Cartunguesna, using when a Yidua, using when a Yidumeoris, Tungiore, so Lefa, Bagba de Samlo Cogmedua. What in the sheet Temba maybe as it in the Numukesa, she Yidua the Meola Sobate, the Rangaton, she Demba Yomare, Sigora. Teach and their point to be Orese. And the Chane Chageng Obola, Rale de Julase. The Chas de Chageng over the Yidua Tone, tell a Rale Nene. Tikiores Gora. They are only Jutuba Metes, charging over there, ranking only Yidoada, contribution, ranking only Yidumeoa, to the Tuba Yoma Resgora. Or Timeva the Caresana Dinyam Dolojaga, Tama de Laga.
Dama de Tanda.
Oh, yeah, and the Lavsha.
they chatsang they kungi gyurtan de that's mandara is and then doctor they
that's your love do it.
Well,
yeah.
So here the
well, national election dura.
Right.
You never told in your mother pon never knew to ask. Teachable mares, Yamoke Saga Shitty, you don't want a Regiton, Rangi you don't want Tonashi, you rang you don't want you then by mares. Kashi you don't want to go the teacher and a point to go.
Right.
And then the chance of charging over a rally and Juguare. Then Rangi charging over Rangi you don't want to add. Tonashi Yomares, teaching a part of this.
Right. So our craving depends on and operates in relationship to the desired thing, and so then that's the focal object is this desired thing, which moreover does not exist from its own side. It seems to have this. It seems to have this quality of attractiveness from its own side, and so then for some, and the reason that it doesn't have this existence from its own side is for some are attracted to that object, and some have aversion to it, and some are confused by it. So so then it couldn't exist. It doesn't have these qualities that are somehow existing there, although it seems to have some existence from its own side, then it in fact doesn't. So if the object that we're craving existed by way of its own entity, or existed from its own side, then, or essentially existed is another way of translating that, it's only desire should, only a craving should arise towards it. Love.
Oh yeah, that is our shigwa. Lala dini lacha de sudwa kansa lala sura kansa kaji sura. Ane yu teliyako yu doa tone chakba jigi ware sura. Kansa lala ko chakba jisa yu telini letene ko yu do meo tone tawa jigi ware sura. Lala dini la dash. Lala dini la mombasa kansa lala ya ko ni chakba da kondo jisa yu de tonde kondo maje chakba maje ane takba da tindren zimbarji mongba mado mongba marikbala soba kiwa mado chakda de jigme duwa sigora lala dini la mongba teacher deba dame ba ose onde lala yu dini la chak de ne las lala yu dini la shedan lala dini la mongba kiwa teacher chakje yu ngoni ji tumna sigora chakje ngobo de yidowa tongge de chakba jenge medigi tongna shi yidowa de rangxin di rangune chukuyo nase yidu mewa tonga digi tongna shi rangune chukuyo nase ene je ganga ge yidowa da yidu mewa tong ganga le chakba jegora ganga le kongchu jegora di jigmari sura chakje yu ngoni ji chumna tingi la chakba bashi je rigba lase mi ganga le chakba janja yidu mewa rangune chumna ganga le kongchu jegore te mi do asigora je rigba la nyeba mebe se yudila mebe chakbada yiduma tong nyeba ke omar misosu tada omada yungora nyeba mebe mikba tamje tokbe takba zamado se pige dakshira bichi mayinge khashe ne soso semge pa o dade yabushi dos o de doja dosam soso semge takba la ralegi ore sigora ane tokbe takba zamado ban debe to ngoni truba mebe debe to yiduma de ngoni truba yo amare soso tokba fachi tane ne ti yidwa de mewan de do asigora shi korang ine kangal chigba yung do asigora shila to ne ja pon ne so sti de ko shi korang de tachi do yidwa de mewa da ngazu tone shi de yo mar soso ta da kheba shi de ti de o tindel te ne ko chagba de pon tu yo re sigada so 2 more minutes.
few more minutes, okay. A few more minutes, we'll finish this verse. Did Sarne, then it...
Oh, yeah.
Did Sarne.
Oh, this one.
So, if we read the verse with the commentary, then I think what is being... I just have to point out that I've had to try and figure out exactly how the commentary and the verse are corresponding to what Genla is saying. So we're going to be reading it over again, and so some are attracted to it, some are averse to it, some feel confusion by it. Thus, desire has no object. So it's because of the if you have any object, then there's some are going to be attracted to it, some are going to be averse to it, and some are going to feel confused by it, like that means with ignorance and confusion. Then averse here means hostile. Some are hostile towards it, and some are attracted to it. So you get this variety. If it somehow existed from its own side, or had some essentially, say it was essentially attractive, then everybody should think it's attractive. But that's not so. So. Here, if we read the commentary, then it says, desire depends on and operates in relationship to a desired thing, which moreover does not exist by way of its own entity. So this desired thing, the essential thing is that if it has no existence from its own side, you can say that it has its own essential existence. It exists by way of its own essence. There's some essence there that is from which it is existing. So, or it has some inherent existence, you could say like that too, or intrinsic existence. For some are attracted to that object, and then the reason for that is that for some are attracted to that, and some have aversion to it, or hostility towards it, I think. Some are confused by it, or just just feel some feel confusion about it. So if the desired object, or the object that we're hostile towards, somehow existed by way of its own entity, then only if it was a desired object that existed by its own entity, then everybody would feel craving for it, and or attachment to it. And if it was an object that caused us to be hostile and angry, then it would also cause everybody to be hostile and angry. So then the object itself is, since this is not inevitable that everybody's going to feel one way or the other about it, then focal objects are only imputed by it. What this means is that they're only imputed by conceptuality, and so then they're merely imputed. They merely exist by from our own from our own side, our own conceptuality, and so that which is desired, or they're merely imputed by our own conceptuality. So from that which is desired does not exist by way of its own entity, or that which makes us angry doesn't exist by its own entity. Therefore, from the point of view of the basis too, from not just the disturbing, the affliction itself, but from the viewpoint of the basis too, the object too, then afflictions can be eliminated. Right.
Pena kibungala chungmani michilia pemini yubachara. Chigi madene chigi gambadilia pomuchi yubache. chunga dile pomo mebe charwa. Ane chiki made ne rangi pomo, ane gemba dege rangi pomo tonsona gagiri he charwa. Ane chunga dege gemba dege pomo tondu dungi jigiri he charwa. O kol pomo yore soso yomara. Ane tremo parma yomo che lega chinge dile nigal ke di pomo dile kawa da kondu dungi ke ikig mare charwa. O di nashire se di sonza yu dile tadang guwanga soso soge kene kawa da kondu da mekiwa di yungu re sigura. Tachi du yu mare soso samlu dandang ke re sigura.
So the example is evocative. A man had two wives, one is senior, one is junior. When the one who was a mother saw her daughter, she felt happy. So she was very happy about her own daughter. When the younger wife, who had no children, she was childless, saw the daughter, she suffered. She got unhappy and angry, felt badly. Then their servant remained indifferent. So the idea is that it's coming from our own conceptuality, our this feeling of what do you say, feeling happy about certain things or feeling sad about other things, and being indifferent. It's all coming from that side of our conceptuality.
No, that is.
That's it. Right.